The city of Fort Smith has its roots in the crude huts that clustered around the walls of the first military Fort Smith. Located on a bluff at the juncture of the Arkansas and Poteau rivers, the area was known by early trappers and traders as Bell Point. A log stockade fort was established in 1817. The community that sprung up beside the fort sought protection, as well as the opportunity to do business with the soldiers, trappers, and the Indian tribes that used the river for transportation. These early businesses dealt mostly in raw food supplies, animal pelts, and homemade liquor. Captain John Rogers arrived at Bell Point in 1822 as the military storekeeper for the 7th United States Infantry Regiment. By 1824, Rogers also had opened a trading post with Colonel John Nix, which quickly became very profitable as the point of supply for settlers. That same year, the Army was ordered to abandon Fort Smith to establish Fort Gibson farther west in the new Indian Territory. John Rogers invested in land, half of it which he sold back to the government for the second Fort Smith in 1838. The other half he laid off into town lots on which the city of Fort Smith would grow. Separating the fort and the town, he allowed for a wide avenue inspired by New Orleans Canal Street, although the original Garrison Avenue probably ran a few blocks perpendicular to the Arkansas River. The earliest businesses were on Water Street or Front Street, which eventually eroded into the river. This hand-drawn map by W.S. Birney shows Fort Smith circa 1846 with businesses, residences, gardens, and slave quarters. North 2nd Street, parallel to the river, was Main Street in those days for two reasons. John Rogers ruled his empire from his large hotel on 2nd Street. 2nd Street also lined up with the main gate of the second Fort Smith across Garrison Avenue. Brick and rock buildings began to replace wooden shanties from the river to North 4th Street. This area held the first private school, the first church, the first bank, the first doctor's office, the first photographer, jeweler, tinsmith, shoe shop, saddlery, newspaper office, and an ice house preserving ice cut from the frozen river. There was a primitive bowling alley, a skating pond, a small theater, and of course, many saloons. The Butterfield Overland stage arrived in 1858, stopping at Rogers Hotel to pick up passengers and drop off mail to be sorted and routed on west. Asa Clark's Brick Hotel on 1st Street was the finest in Arkansas when it opened in 1850. But without a water system or fire department, a series of fires in 1853, 1860, and 1872 destroyed much of this oldest part of town. H.G. Hickens' cash store on the corner of North 2nd and Garrison Avenue was a prime location. Hero G. Hicken was born in Hamburg, Germany, and came to Fort Smith about 1851. His store did solid business until the outbreak of the Civil War. In 1862, he joined the Confederate Fort Smith Rifles. His March 1869 obituary says after his return, he labored to repair his shattered fortune until disease claimed his life at the age of 50. In the latter part of the 1870s, Fort Smith businesses boomed and commercial buildings rose eastward up both sides of Garrison Avenue. 2nd Street and the surrounding area was a railroad hub and vital industrial center through the 1960s, but declined and deteriorated towards the end of the century. A 1996 tornado damaged the 200 block severely and many buildings were razed. Citizens voted for riverfront improvements in the late 1990s, and private development followed, with almost a decade of construction and restoration. By 2010, the west end of Garrison Avenue had become the site of a vintage amusement park, an outdoor farmers market, restaurants, live entertainment theater, new apartment residences, and thriving retail businesses.